Bo Amaral looks like his dad. Except his dad was right-handed. His father was the Mariners utility guy for a long time, Rich Amaral.
I remember the name.
Yeah. I just happened to make the connection. Ross gave me the name the other day, and I was like, is he Rich's kid by any chance? I saw he was out there, available. He goes, yeah, because his dad called, Richie Amaral, yeah, his dad called me. I was like, yeah, I met his father like a long time ago. I remember exactly. I met him and Dave Martinez at the same time. I was walking by on the field, and they're like, hey, don't we know you from last year? Because I had gone from the Midwest League to the Carolina League, and they both had too. They're like, we're doing the Midwest League last year. And I was like, yeah, I was at Madison. But, yeah.
Wow. Small world.
Yep. At least, it's not like another Coburnus where I actually was the guy's father's roommate. That was crazy. Jeff's dad and I and two other guys shared a townhouse.
Sounds like you've spent half of your last however many years on the road.
Oh, yeah. It's the life.
Yes, it is.
I don't know whether I can say I chose it or it chose me. And once you get into it, it's really difficult to go back and be normal. Good, Chris. How are you? We had a lot of fun doing that. It's time to play in downtown Lancaster, but it's baseball on tap tonight at Clipper Magazine Stadium along with Eric May. I'm Dave Collins. The Lancaster Barnstormers just home very briefly. A 3-game weekend in between long road trips. The Barnstormers tonight entertaining the Long Island Ducks. Lancaster coming off a road trip in which the ball club won 4 out of 6 against the Sugarland Skeeters. And the Barnstormers now trying to do it with a completely revamped team. Not entirely revamped, but 4 guys are in the field tonight for the Lancaster Barnstormers that were not here during our last homestand prior to the All-Star break, Eric May. We also have llamas, or alpacas. Technically, that's an alpaca.
And in typical Atlantic League fashion, this is going to be where there's roster changes, and there have been numerous ones for the Barnstormers. And we talked about it, too, that last homestand. Once we got to the All-Star break, dire need of getting some bodies in here. Lancaster's filled that need.
The Barnstormers also lost 2 more. Vladimir Frias went to the Arizona Diamondbacks organization. The contract of Caleb Gindel was purchased by the San Francisco Giants. So Coronado and Amaral, and tonight Cole Garner is also in there. Steve Clevenger, they're all new. And they weren't with us the last time that the Barnstormers were home. So we'll see what it all brings.
Yeah, kind of a who's who now of Barnstormers when it comes to this roster.
Well, Cole Garner, we know what he can do. He was a superstar here 3 years ago. Just acquired back in a trade with the New Britain Bees before we went on the road. You see the back of Bo Amaral there. His dad, a longtime Major League utility player, mostly with the Seattle Mariners. Steve Clevenger has Major League time with the Orioles, Mariners, and a couple of other ball clubs. But the story of the road trip was Nate Coronado. He had 8 hits in 5 games played. He was the star offensively of the road trip for the Lancaster Barnstormers. We'll see if that can carry over into our 3-game home series here this weekend. That is Clevenger. The one-time Oriole and Mariner, Jared Leverett, gets the start tonight for the Lancaster Barnstormers. So with everybody on the field, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with the first pitch of tonight's game against the Long Island Ducks here on Blue Ridge Cable 11. The Long Island Ducks in town tonight. They are off to a 6-7 start in the second half. The Barnstormers, despite being on the road the bulk of the time, are 7-6 here in the second half. So nobody really has broken free from the pack at all in the second half in the Atlantic League. The best record is 8-6. The worst record is 5-8 in the second half. The Barnstormers are half game behind the York Revolution in the Freedom Division standings in the second half. Jared Leverett will get the start tonight. And of course, Eric, we're a week out from the makeup game against Southern Maryland, which for all intents and purposes is a playoff game.
Absolutely.
So a playoff game right smack dab in the middle of the season. to break the first half tie and see who will advance to the postseason.
And so these new guys that are just signed get thrown into a huge ball game a week from tonight.
And I've talked about this at length with Ross Peoples on the road trip about how conceivably that could give the Barnstormers a little bit of an edge, because there are hitters that Southern Maryland will not know in that lineup next week. 4 new ones. They'll know Garner because he's been in this league so long, but Coronado, Amaral, and Clevenger potentially could give the Barnstormers a little bit of an edge.
That is a point well taken. Now I'm sure that they will be checking and scouting and everything else in this next week or so, but well, what a position for these guys to be brought into. And you can only hope that the bats will come alive on that night. And boy, that would be huge for this organization.
Anybody coming into the Atlantic League is a free agent. They can shop around for all 8 clubs. Obviously, the Barnstormers had openings, but Amaral was just released by the Cincinnati Reds out of AAA. Clevenger hasn't played since last year, but he's a guy with major league experience. And Coronado is a youngster, but he has fit the bill extremely well for this ball club. It's been a great fit. And, of course, if you can shop for all 8 clubs, you're going to be more excited about jumping into a pennant race, although everybody is, in a sense, in one here in the second half. Jarrett Leverett ready to go, facing left-handed batting Quentin Berry leading off tonight. There's a strike as signaled by Freddie DeJesus, and we are underway. Leverett coming off a win against the Sugar Land Skeeters. He gave up 1 run in 5 innings last Saturday. Barnstormers won the game 6-1. Jarrett snapping a personal 5-game losing streak at that point. He's, as you saw, 5-5 now on the year. He walked the first 3 batters of that game and got away with it. That's not easy to do. Swing and a miss, make it 1 ball and 2 strikes. He was extraordinarily wild at the outset, something you don't often see out of Leverett. But 3 batters reached base. The first guy got on, he was picked off by De La Rosa. 2 more walks, and the lead guy at second, Josh Prince, was picked off by Leverett. Ground ball, shortstop. There is Coronado. He gets indoctrinated right away here at home. Fires across, gets the out. Barry's retired, 1 out.
Wow, Barry got down the line in a hurry. Yeah, that was a very close play.
He can motor. And Coronado, more of a third baseman by trade, the Barnstormers' new utility infielder. But with Vladimir Frias being acquired by the Arizona Diamondbacks and going to Double-A, Coronado, for at least the time being, the everyday shortstop, and he's handled everything pretty well.
So is this a record for number of Barnstormers signed in this season?
We had more last year, 1 more. And we got time to go. I think we're going to get there. It's a popped up foul out of play by switch hitting Delta Cleary Jr. It is 0-1. We definitely have time to get there when you consider last year that Brian Evans and Terry Doyle at least went in August. And there may have been another one beyond this point of the season last year. Second strike, it is 0-2 on Cleary.
So the next couple of weeks will be a telltale sign for who could go.
Cleary continuing to bat with 2 strikes in the count. Meanwhile, the Barnstormers have a chance to galvanize as this rebuilt ball club. We had to get a left-handed batter or 2 in here. So Amaral and Clevenger showing up, both joining the team today. High fly ball right center field. This could be an issue. Way back this one goes, but it's playable, and Cole Garner just ahead of the warning track making the catch. Cleary is retired. That is 2 outs, and an indication the ball may not travel all that well tonight on a night where you would think that it might.
Well, and you got an outfielder that has been here before. He knows the dimensions. He knows how to play really all 3 spots out there.
Yeah, he roved the outfield for the Barnstormers 3 years ago, club MVP. The man who beat him out for league MVP in 2014 steps in. Lou Ford, the designated hitter and maybe all-time Barnstormer killer. He has a career batting average over 400 against Lancaster pitching, and it goes all the way back to 2009. Lou has been in and out of this league. He's driven in over 60 runs at Barnstormers' expense. Leverett will go back to work. No balls and a strike. And ground ball down the line at third. Foul past Kevin Baez, the manager.
So in other words, you're saying we need to keep him off the bases.
We need to keep him out of the batter's box. Keeping him off the bases is secondary. Let him bat as few times as possible, especially in key situations in the ball game. 2 outs, nobody on. I'm cool with this.
Yeah.
If you're going to face Lou Ford as a Barnstormer, now's the time. Leverett ahead of him, 0-2. Got him swinging. Beautiful start to the ball game for Jarrett Leverett. A 1-2-3 inning in the top half of the first. Barnstormers will get their chance next. No score here in the first inning. Completely new Barnstormers in the 1 and 3 slots in the batting order. In that number 5 slot and the number 9 slot, new to Clipper Magazine Stadium for this year anyway. And Josh Bell, he's been starting on a day-in, day-out basis as the Barnstormers player coach. Bell is supposed to be out of the lineup today, but then Lasting's Millage was a late scratch, and right back in there is Josh Bell.
I wonder if Bell thought that he would be playing as much as he has when this season started.
I don't think that was the plan. The guys are having fun having him out there, and I think he's having fun being back out there. Barnstormers tonight are facing Rafael Perez, who pitched a gem the last time he was on this mound. He beat the Barnstormers on Sunday afternoon, June the 18th here. Final score of 6-2. And they'll be facing Amaral, Noel, and Clevenger here in the first inning. Bo Amaral with his first Atlantic League at bat. He's been with the Cincinnati Reds organization, and he gets a ball below the knees. It's 1-0. Amaral's dad played in the major leagues for a very long time. Never really a household name. He was a utility type player. They're very good for a long time for Seattle. Strike called, and the count is 1-1. And I had a chance to meet Rich Amaral once many, many years ago. And it just kind of strange, fun set of circumstances. And Bo is kind of the spitting image of him. Swing and a miss. Perez, the longtime Cleveland Indian, gets ahead of Amaral at 1 ball and 2 strikes. But his father was right-handed. Bo's left-handed.
Well, you can tell he's a newbie. Haven't had time to have his name put on the back of his jersey. Because he was, just showed up today?
Got into town yesterday, had his physical today, everything good to go. Ball 2 is high, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
That was a very quick turnaround.
Perez back into the motion, and Amaral forces a full count, 3-2. California born and raised from Huntington Beach is Bo Amaral. He was hitting .220 at AAA Louisville this year. No home runs, 12 runs batted in, 3 stolen bases. Six seasons in the Cincinnati organization. Payoff pitch coming. Bouncer back toward the hill. Handled by Perez, 1 out. It brings on the second baseman, Rico Noel, who's been a very good hitter against left-handed pitching. He has struggled lately against the right-handers. Noel had a spree of doubles in the recent road trip to Sugar Land, and that wasn't just a series, that was an entire road trip, 6 games. He was 5 for 26 there, only batted .192, but 4 of the hits were doubles. 2 of them led off games. And we mentioned his success against lefties, .368 on the season. Perez ready to go, and he delivers a strike to the outside corner. It's 0-1.
But the name of the game for Noel is get on base, let him wreak havoc.
28 stolen bases for the season. Fastball upstairs. 1-1. Steve Clevenger waits on deck. Baltimore native. We have 2 now on the ball club. 2 Baltimore natives and 1, at least half of the year, Baltimore resident. Brad Bergeson, John Kutchno and Steve Clevenger, both from the Queens, not the Queen City, the Charm City. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Queen City, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Charm City's Baltimore.
Well, next time you talk to them, if they go home, tell them to bring back a bushel of crabs for me, will you?
Hard hit ground ball foul past Ross Peoples in the coach's box. With Bell in the lineup, Peoples has had to coach just about every inning at third base, occasionally turning it over to Scott Patterson.
Does he prefer to stay in the dugout?
He prefers to coach the first half of the game and then operate things from the dugout once the bullpen's involved. To Noel, in on the hands, and just beaten foul.
He held on.
He did hold on. 2 outs. And here's Steve Clevenger, first at bat of the year. That was a good job by Jordan Pacheco.
Ooh.
And they got the backlash of the bat in the helmet, it looked like, too. Clevenger has not played since last season. He was a Seattle Mariner. He catches as well as playing first base. There's a line drive right to the shortstop, Lyons. It's the final out of the inning, but you got to like that swing. You got to like that contact.
Absolutely.
Nothing across in the Lancaster half of the first inning. We're at the end of 1, and there is no score. It's definitely a warm one here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. Hydration is important.
How does this compare to Sugar Land?
Well, let me tell you a Sugar Land story that is not true here in Lancaster today. In Sugar Land, if you walked out of air conditioning, whether it was the hotel or the bus, as soon as you hit the outside air, your glass is fogged up. That has not happened to me here today. Temperature-wise, it's about the same. It is not as humid as it was down there. Heat indices in Sugar Land, well, yesterday Wednesday during the game, 106. Angelo Sonko will lead off. The Barnstormers put a somewhat dramatic shift on against the left-handed batting first baseman, who has done well against Leverett this year. He has a couple of home runs off of him. Sonko, in general, has batted better against left-handed pitching. That's why Kevin Baez keeps him in the cleanup slot here tonight. Ball one pitch delivered for a strike. It is 1-1. Sonko at one point was up at the top of the league in home runs, or at least tied for the lead. But 15 now, still trailing Casey Hobson by 6. Hobson still leads, but there are others, Sean Halton and Michael Snyder, who are ahead of the 15. We'll look at Giovanni Alfonso in the Ducks dugout. 1 ball, 2 strikes. That ball is pounded deep toward left center field. On the run, though, is Halton. That ball is holding up out there tonight, it looks like, Eric. And a couple running catches for Barnstormers outfielders on balls that I think other night might slice through the alley.
When it went off the bat, I thought for sure that thing had gap written all over it, but then it started to tail back towards Halton in left field, and pretty much a routine play then for Halton.
Mark Krause stepping in, another left-handed batter. It's interesting that Baez has kept left-handed hitters back-to-back against Leverett, but this is the 4th time Long Island has seen Leverett, and he's done better against their right-handed hitters than he's done against their lefties, and Baez is on top of that. First pitch called strike. It is 0-1.
Krause has homered in back-to-back games. Hadn't one Wednesday night. This guy's got some pop in his bat.
One-time major leaguer. Second strike. It is 0-2.
I love the dramatic strike call by Fred DeJesus, too.
It's been fun to watch. I mean, he's not totally Frank Drebin, but that's one of my all-time favorite movie scenes. In the dirt for a ball, 1 and 2. I love the Naked Gun movies. And I keep thinking it's Nordberg that got out on parole, or is getting out on parole. That's all I think, because I'm a huge fan of the Naked Gun movies.
Well, and
that, I believe, is Zach Treese with the hair. I'm not sure, but I think that's who it is. Outside on the breaking ball.
Well, and the thing is, too, I mean, you hear the name Leslie Nielsen, and automatically you just think Naked Gun. How do you take that guy, how do you put him in a serious role in a movie?
Foul ball back. Well, first he's Dr. Rumack in Airplane, and then it was the same. Was it Abraham Zucker and Abraham, the same producers that did Airplane, that did the Naked Gun movies, and before that Police Squad, which was actually a TV summer replacement. 2-2. High to Krause, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Those are the kind of movies you have to watch a second or third time, because there's things you missed the first time.
Absolutely. They're brilliantly crafted films.
And just as funny each time.
3-2 to Krause, and he walks him, does Leverett. First base runner on either side tonight. Elmer Reyes, the second baseman, will step in. 303 hitter for the Ducks. 3 home runs, 35 runs batted in. The Long Island Ducks got off to a very slow start this year, but for a while now they've stayed right around the 500 mark overall, and by no means is this team out of championship contention. They're a club the Barnstormers have to keep an eye on in case there's a wild card race. Right now the Barnstormers lead the Ducks by 3.5 games and have the advantage in the season series, 7-4. Pitch to Reyes, spins him around. Ball 1, no strikes.
But the thing is, there is a lot of veteran experience on this Long Island team. Guys that have been through this for a number of years. Never take them for granted.
1-0 on Reyes. Leverett is high again. 2 balls and no strikes. This is shades of what we saw the first inning in that start at Sugar Land on Saturday. He got away with the 3 walks in a row. He walked another guy, not terribly long after that, and then settled in. Leverett pitched ultimately a very good game against the Skeeters last Saturday, but he was inordinately wild at times. 2-0. Check swing, and he did go, says John Grasso. Leverett catching a break there, and the count is now 2-1.
Well, and you're thinking about a hot, humid night like this, how many times are they going to go to the rosin bag to dry off the hands, because they have got to be sweating profusely out there on the mound tonight?
A few weeks back, John Anderson made a spot start for the Barnstormers, and once he got to the second inning, that was his issue. He got terribly wild. He couldn't get a good grip on the ball. It kept kind of slipping out of his hand. The rosin bag wasn't helping. Now 2-2 on Reyes. And you can see the same thing happening to Leverett, perhaps.
Yeah, and the last couple of pitches have always seemed to come in high.
Clevenger and Krause, the two first basemen. Clevenger gives up a few inches. He's not a tall guy over there. 2-2 offering, bouncing ball towards second. Charging it is Noel. He's going to make a high throw to first. Now Clevenger back to second base, and both runners are safe. Boy, that got messed up every which way. They ruled him safe at second. Clevenger was pulled off the bag at first. That has to be an E4. Boy, Noel made a mistake on both ends.
Why not just take the lead runner?
He put the tag on, but that still should have been a force at second base, and nobody's arguing.
Well, because he wasn't on the bag.
Because he was safe at first, so that's still, he wasn't on the bag. Yep, he didn't have it. So no argument on either end. That's fielder's choice at E4. Jordan Pacheco stands in. The pitch is outside, ball 1-0. Noel made the right choice. He had the double play standing there once Krause pulled up by throwing to first, and then there should have been time. Quick throw to first, get the out. Clevenger fires back to Coronado, and you've got a tag for a double play, but it just completely fell apart.
Well, and then the ball kind of sailing on him on the throw to first base, and again, and you mentioned about Clevenger, not real tall. He had to really jump to pull that throw down.
And he didn't come down on the bag.
Nope.
Reyes safe there, and Coronado wasn't on the bag at second, taking the return throw, which was still a force out.
So kind of a breakdown on numerous occasions there.
Fouled away by Pacheco. It is 2-1. Jordan Pacheco has some major league experience as well. Look at it again. Noel made the right decision. He just didn't execute it properly. And in fact, the only guy who did there was Clevenger.
Yeah. I mean, a good throw to first base, and they've got a double play.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Because Clevenger can handle the throw and quickly release it to second instead of having to jump up, bring it back down, reset his feet. They lost time there.
Because even Krause, you look at the body language of Krause, he was coasting into second base thinking, okay, he's going to be wiped out at second. He probably had to be shocked when he saw the throw come in late.
2-1. Leverett goes to work on Pacheco, lined into right field. That's a base hit. They'll have to hold the runner at third base. Strong throw coming in from Garner, knocked down by De La Rosa. Krause will hold on at third. The bases are loaded for the top average hitter on the Long Island Ducks, Giovanni Alfonso. Young third baseman, only played as high as the single-A level in the Miami Marlins organization. That he has found a home on Long Island. Garner was going to come up with that ball in a hurry. Krause had no chance to score, no reasonable chance to score.
No, good strong throw by Garner. Yeah, and if you're Long Island, you're not going to take that chance.
Leverett needs a ground ball at somebody out of Alfonso. Instead, a line drive up for it goes Clevenger. Chance to turn two, but not quite. He couldn't get back to the bag in time to double up Pacheco. Nice play by Steve Clevenger. Leaping catch to take away a hit from Alfonso.
If he didn't have to jump, if that was chest high, that's a double play. But just that timing to come down with the ball, get his feet, and then get to the bag, that's what prevented him from the double play. But nice job. Well, he's seen a lot of action over there already in his first start.
Clevenger showing a decent vertical leap now on a couple of plays this inning. Dan Lyons standing in, 246 with 4 home runs, 20 driven in. Leverett gets him to swing and miss. It is 0-1. Last time the Ducks were here, I had a chance to interview Lyons because his career in the Atlantic League is so intertwined with the Barnstormers' history.
Kind of put him in that Lou Ford category.
The ball is low. Of course, the championship winning bunt in 2012, that was just heartbreaking. And he flied out in the 9th inning of Lenny DiNardo's no-hitter. He kept Adam Godwin from going 7 for 7 one night. The 6 hits, a Barnstormer record, but it was almost a Rennie Stennett 7 for 7 game. Lyons made a tremendous stop up the middle and still was able to get to his feet and throw out one of, if not the fastest right-handed batter this league has ever seen, certainly one of the top 5. So it's 1-2 on Lyons. Leverett trying to wiggle out of a bases-loaded jam that he has not entirely created himself. There is an error in the inning. Anything would be unearned. 1-2. Lyons skies it out to left. Sean Halton signaling that this ball belongs to him. It does, and Leverett's out of the jam. Nice play on the Alfonso liner by Clevenger. 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 error, 3 left. Bottom of the 2nd coming up in a scoreless battle. Intensely following the game here tonight, and hopefully happy the Barnstormers were able to wiggle out of that jam in the top half of the 2nd inning. Defended nicely by the first baseman Clevenger, and Leverett got that key out on Dan Lyons. Ducks leave the bases loaded, and Sean Halton leads off here in the Lancaster 2nd inning. Lastings Millage and Trayvon Robinson both sitting tonight. They were the keys to the series at Sugar Land, but they've been battling injuries for a while. Low to Halton, ball 1 and no strikes. The Barnstormers, and I've got to go back through the records. I didn't have a chance to do it today. Have gone now 7 consecutive games without hitting a home run. Halton smashed toward the middle. What a pick by Elmer Reyes. He gets to set his feet and throw out Halton. The fact that Reyes was playing up the middle was good positioning. The fact that he was able to stop that was excellent glove work. That was blistered by Hall.
Wow.
And how do you hit a ball that hard and go 0 for 1? Nice play by Elmer Reyes.
I don't know if Perez, no, I think it went behind him, but boy, did he have to duck. Holy smokes, was that thing ripped.
Cole Garner with his first game back at Clipper Magazine Stadium. He had one huge game where he had 3 hits and 4 runs batted in. Needed the home run for the cycle, and he had one at bat to do it. And he fouled out down the right field line on a great running catch by Joe Benson. Pitch to Garner, hit well, right center field. Back on this goes Cleary. Cleary all the way, looking up, and the walls will not contain it. Welcome back, Cole Garner. And it's 1-0 Barnstormers.
Wow, it's 2014 all over again.
Garner killed Long Island, especially that season, and he starts again. Garner and Ford both had 34 hits in the 20-game season series in 2014. Cole is back in a Barnstormers uniform, and his first swing leaves the ballpark.
Oh, boy, that is nice to see. And you got to figure Sean Halton's got to love the fact that he'll have Garner batting behind him.
Now to Garrett Weber, who knows a thing or two about right field at Clipper Magazine Stadium. 9 of his home runs have been hit here, and the lion's share of them in that direction.
You look at it now, Halton, Garner, Weber, they're 3 right-handed batters with some pretty good pop.
Into the hole, left side, Lyons with quite a play. The throw will not be in time. Weber beats out the infield single, but boy, what a show by Dan Lyons.
Well, the fact that he got to it and then was able to turn and make a strong throw to first, it's a heck of a play.
Past the diving Alfonso, but Lyons in the hole. He's getting older. He's in this league now for the 7th season. He's still as good as ever.
That was a heck of a play.
Josh Bell will step in, batting from the right side against the lefty Perez. Lyons, one of the best gloves this league's ever had. You could give him the gold glove. There's one overall winner. There's a winner at each position and then one overall winner. Lyons won it 2 years ago. Eric Ferris of Somerset won it last year. But you could give it to Dan Lyons year in and year out, and you can't argue.
Yeah, he has been
1-0 to Bell, grounded toward that same hole. This one cleanly through and a base hit. To second goes Weber. Bell is on board. And Anderson De La Rosa will come to the plate. Now that great stop up the middle by Elmer Reyes looking even bigger.
Yeah. Right now, everything's finding the hole here for Lancaster, and I like it. Plus, they're hitting the ball hard. Even Clevenger's line out to end the first inning was well struck.
Yeah. Barnstormers were pretty much controlled back here on June the 18th by Perez. That afternoon, he gave up 6 hits, 2 runs on a home run by Casey Hobson in the 7th inning. He homered against everybody, didn't he?
Yeah,
by
he
the
did.
end, left-handers, right-handers didn't matter by the time Casey departed from here. So here is De La Rosa. First and second, 1 out. And Anderson takes a strike. It is 0-1. The Barnstormers have been attacking Perez early in the count this inning as well. Lancaster faced Perez again. It's a road trip to start the second half, and Rami Lewis outdueled him. Barnstormers beat him 5-0. Still didn't hit him terribly hard. 1 ball and 1 strike the count.
Well, if you're not going to get a lot of hits, you got to get them at the right time and bunch them together. Be nice to see a couple of more base hits, see if they can plate more than just a single run this inning.
Weber and Bell on base in front of De La Rosa. 1-1. Anderson chips this down the right field line. If that's fair, it's trouble. That is a fair ball into the corner. Weber will score. Bell will chug to third. De La Rosa in behind him at second with an RBI double, and the Barnstormers lead 2-0.
This guy just continues to hit.
That is his 19th double of the season. Anderson De La Rosa, the Barnstormers all-star catcher.
And I know, we've talked about it. I know that when Mark's here, you've talked about his defensive skills as well. He had a great series down the Sugar Land throwing out runners. Threw out a runner in the All-Star game.
He just needed to get refreshed. He came out of that week-long homestand at the end of the first half. He was absolutely exhausted. He was banged up. His arm was bothering him. The next week, Tyler Clark caught 5 of the 7 games. The Barnstormers won 3 of the 5 that Clark caught there. So they didn't necessarily miss De La Rosa in that sense. It was good to have him get the better part of a week off. Here's Nate Coronado for his first at-bat at home. Coronado had an incredible road trip. This is also his first at-bat, believe it or not, against a left-handed pitcher. 8 for 17 in the series at Sugar Land with 3 extra base hits and 5 runs driven in. Infield playing most of the way up, and Coronado stings a liner foul into the seats down the right field line. He had a 2-run triple over the head of the center fielder Cole Gillespie at Sugar Land in the 3-run 4th inning back on Wednesday.
Well, his family's got to love this. From Philadelphia, not far from home.
Ball 2, high and outside, 2 balls and a strike. He's displayed a decent eye at the plate. Here's a young man, he's 25, but he hardly has any professional playing experience logged. He's been quite a story.
It's a nice way to start your tenure, too, with a ball club with the series he had at Sugar Land.
Here comes the 2-1 offering, ground ball. There's Lyons. He'll make the backhanded stop and gun down Coronado. 2 outs here, and back comes Bo Amaral. Barnstormers have the hardest time getting balls through a drawn-in infield all year. Easy grounder by Coronado, so he can't drive in the runs. Amaral will give it a shot.
Geez, I just looked up at the board, and at a quick glance, he looked like Pete Andrelzik.
Maybe a little bit, but if you see a photo of his father, you'll definitely see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Ball is outside, 1-0.
We'll see if he can make an impact in his first start.
Looking for a 2-out RBI base hit, perhaps driving in 2. Pulled foul on the ground. A ball and a strike.
I was looking through the notes. I wonder if Perez even has a home uniform. 16 starts, 12 of them have been on the road.
It's funny how that can happen to pitchers at times. Depending on how the schedule falls, you can get in that rut where you start over and over and over and over again on the road.
He's 5-3 with a 4.18 ERA on the road.
1 ball and 2 strikes, 6-5, 3.99 overall. And he has a chance to get through Amaral and get out of the inning with just the 2 Lancaster runs on the board. The Barnstormers hit the ball well here in the 2nd inning. One-two, that's line to center field, sinking quickly and down for a base hit. Bell will score. Holding up at third is De La Rosa. Amaral delivers, and it's now 3-0 with Rico Noel stepping in.
Well, maybe not.
Now they got De La Rosa caught in a rundown. That was weird at the last minute. He had put the brakes on it coming around third, and Noel will not bat after all. But a great piece of hitting by Amaral before a mess on the bases. So a 3-run inning. Barnstormers with the home run by Garner, etc. A big second inning for the Lancaster Barnstormers. It might have been even bigger, but Anderson De La Rosa knew he had the stop sign at third base and just couldn't apply the brakes. He made too wide of a turn. It was obvious that Ross Peoples was holding him up, and De La Rosa knew it too, but he came too far, and they back-picked him, as Caleb Gindel would like to call a play like that. So 8-6-5-2, and the second inning comes to an end.
And here we're both thinking, all right, first and third, put our heads down to fill in the book, and all of a sudden De La Rosa's in a rundown.
A 3-run inning for the Barnstormers, though, in the second. Lineup turns over for the Long Island Ducks. Quentin Berry coming in, 0 for 1 for Berry. That was a 5-hit inning for the Barnstormers.
And more importantly, a big 2-out hit.
Ball is low to Berry, 1-0. The Barnstormers in the Sugarland series were scoring fairly big early. There were nights they would keep it going, and there were nights it was 3-3. The offense would completely stop. So we'll see how it goes here. Meanwhile, Leverett staked to the 3-0 lead, falls behind Berry, 2 balls and no strikes.
Well, I'm sure he kind of had to enjoy that long inning, kind of catch your breath, cool off a little bit.
Next offering, ground ball, right side. Noel is there. He'll find Clevenger, 1 out.
The all-important first out of the inning after a big inning.
I like that the Barnstormers have the fresh blood. I think it helps this time of year. Turnover is important in the Atlantic League. You hate to lose your friends, just looking at it from a personally selfish standpoint. But, you know, this league is there for guys to move on. You need the roster turnover. Otherwise, things get stale. Ball is low, 1-0. And I actually think that might have been affecting this ball club for a little bit until players started having their contracts purchased. And then, you know, psychologically, I think that's key. It's what the league's all about. Base hit to left for Cleary. 1 out with a runner aboard, and now Amaral and Clevenger come in, and Garner and Coronado, and re-energizes the ball club. As long as everybody gets along, you don't have any clubhouse issues that develop with the new guys, it's good to have some turnover.
Well, and the one guy that we talked about in the last homestand that we thought was going to be an integral part of this team in the second half is Trayvon Robinson, and on cue has really picked it up.
Trayvon Robinson swinging the bat incredibly well until the last game, but he's still bothered by his legs.
Well, which is why these new additions is going to be key now, because now he's got a chance to get healthy, get back in the lineup again, and hopefully continue that hot hitting.
And no longer is Ross Peoples in that situation where he's got to put limping guys in the field. One out, and here's Ford. Cleary already on base. Everett throws a strike at his 0-1. Sonko, the first baseman, left-handed batter, waits on deck.
And the thing is, if the chemistry with the new guys can fit in and they start putting some wins together, and then they get a win next Friday night, who knows where that could take this ball club.
Lob throw over to first. Cleary is back. Leverett has one of the better pickoff moves on this Barnstormers ball club, perhaps the best. Both the first and the second. He's going to come to the plate. Ford will line it off of Leverett's glove. Jarrett will pick it back up, toss to first. Jarrett wanted that play on the line, couldn't quite squeeze it, but he's able to get the 40-year-old Lou Ford at first base. Cleary moves ahead to second with 2 out, and Angelo Sonko will step in.
You know, for that split second, he looked at second base, and I'm like, no, first.
You've got a 3-0 lead. Make sure you get 1 out.
Yes.
Sonko stepping in. Here's a guy who has Leverett's number. A couple of home runs off of him, a long double, driving in some runs to left center field this year. Overall, Sonko hasn't done a whole lot against the Barnstormers except against Leverett. He's only 5 for 39 in the season series. And all 3 of his extra base hits are off the lefty. Hard hit out already tonight. There's a swing and a miss at a breaking ball at his 0-1.
And a good one, too. He had Sanko fooled. And the key to the fact that Sanko has hit him so well, you got to keep him off balance. Keep him guessing.
Leverett, of course, was a Duck at the end of last year and pitched a brilliant game for them in the postseason against Somerset. Ball 1 and a strike to Sanko here. Started last year with New Britain. And acquired by the Barnstormers in an off-season trade for the infamous player to be named later who has not yet been named.
What are they waiting for?
1 ball, 1 strike. Time called at home plate.
Boy, you cannot miss Delta Cleary out there at second base. Those fluorescent shoes, just like a beacon of light. Probably glow in the dark.
To Sanko, 1-1. Breaking ball swung on and missed again. A ball and 2 strikes. Does Leverett go back to it?
I was thinking the same thing. Do you stick with the breaking ball or you try and sneak a fastball by him?
Get a look at Cleary. He's done well against the Barnstormers this year and not all that well overall. 1-2 pitch outside. Too far away for Sanko to be terribly tempted. Lancaster just took the lead in the second inning, hoping to hold off the Ducks through the third. Two balls, 2 strikes to Sanko. Down and in, ball 3. Another left-handed batter waits on deck in Kraus. Leverett starting tonight had given up 103 hits in 78 2/3 innings. Numbers that are not that uncommon with this starting rotation. But everybody in this rotation has at times pitched great ball games. It's kind of an enigma. And they all have similar numbers. 3-2 pitch, strike 3 on the outside corner, burned it with a fastball. Leverett gets through his nemesis Sanko on strikes. 1 hit. A man left in scoring position. Lancaster retains the 3-0 lead. There's Dottie Pitchford, the athletic trainer for the Long Island Ducks, and she's been there as long as the Barnstormers have been in this league. And it kind of sparked a trend. We've seen a lot of female athletic trainers here in the Atlantic League. I think she was the first, but I'm not absolutely certain of that. But here's something. You want to get baseball players talking about something other than baseball? This was the topic of conversation in the clubhouse early today. That is a street legal shopping cart. The only one in the area. It's courtesy of family-owned markets. And it was actually designed, from what I understand, by the father-in-law of the head of Musser's.
That is
grocery
cool.
store. But yeah, what a great thing.
All I can think of when I see that is the car that Grandpa Munster drove. It's just something about that.
Rico
That's
Noel
neat.
leading off the home half of the third inning, struck out back in the first. Gets to see Rafael Perez a second time here tonight. Up and away, ball one. On the road trip, and I don't think you're on social media. If you're not, or if you are, somehow I've missed you. But I was posting from Sugar Land, car in front of the hotel, the entire trip. We had a Lamborghini, we had a Maserati, we had a Range Rover, we had a Porsche. So that's going to be car in front of the ballpark today. You know you're back in Lancaster when? 1 ball and 1 strike. The count on Noel. Fastball gets the inside corner from Perez. Clevenger on deck, and then Halton in the Lancaster half of the third inning. But that oversized shopping cart has just gained everybody's imagination here today. Players want to go for a drive in it. Swinging a foul tip.
The only thing that I'm thinking about, and you mentioned it, is street legal, but I'm thinking where they sit to drive, there should be a roll bar or something to cage them in.
Can you imagine trying to find a parking space in the lot? Do you actually have to park in one of the grocery cart return locations?
If you can fit that in there, you're a heck of a driver. But you know what? You get a great look at the parking lot, though.
High fly ball to left center field by Noel, angling over Cleary to make the catch. One away here in the bottom half of the third inning.
I'm sure the kids that are doing the cart returns are jumping at the chance to park that one.
Tow all the other shopping carts. It'd be like Mother Duckling with the little kids. Tow the other shopping carts behind it.
I wonder how long that took to put together.
Well, we get Steve Clevenger to the plate. He lined to short on his one swing here tonight. Strike to the inside corner on Clevenger. Lives in Florida now, but born and raised in Baltimore. Strike 2 from Perez. I would imagine at some point Clevenger faced Perez in the American League. Perez with Cleveland for a number of years, and Clevenger bounced around big league baseball. 0-2, wrap back off of Perez's glove, looked like off his chin, and then back down for an out. 1-3, 2 outs. Halton stepping in.
Okay, Clevenger's got nothing to show for his first 2 at bats, but he's hit the ball right on the spot. That line out to short, and he gets that past Perez. That's a base hit up the middle.
And he's facing a very good left-hander in Rafael Perez. So the fact that he and Amaral have been able to do what they've done tonight and swing toward the middle, toward the other way here, not be tempted by that short porch out in right field, it's a good thing to see. Halton stepping in. He was robbed by Reyes the first time up. Outside to Sean, 1-0. Halton had a lot of extra base hits at Sugar Land, but he went an entire 6-game series without hitting a home run in that ballpark, which, like, that's a dream come true for the Sugar Land Skeeters, because he usually tears that place apart. Swing and a miss. It's 1-1. He came close. He hit a ball off the left field wall, which then bounced back over Derek Miller the other way and resulted in a triple. Sean was 7 for 23 in the series. He had a triple and 3 doubles. Ball 2 and a strike. but he only drove in 1 run in the 6 games. He was scoring more than he was driving them in. The lineup not working necessarily like it's supposed to right now, but it's working. A lot of runs batted in toward the bottom of the order. 2-1. Halton gives this one a ride, but he hooks it foul. That would have broken up the home run drought.
Yeah. Easily a home run distance. Oh, my.
Opened it up, but didn't quite stay inside of it. Two balls, 2 strikes. Perez comes back, and this is hit shallow. Lions fading back from shortstop. He'll put it away, and it's a 1-2-3 inning. A couple balls hit fairly well, but nothing to show for it. We'll go to the 4th inning. Lancaster still up 3-0. It's a good night to be on the lawn, and a night where you not only can enjoy Barnstormers baseball, but there is a country concert by a group known as Low Low Chariot. One too many syllables for the old Negro spiritual, but swing low, Low Low Chariot. It will be out here tonight. It's Low Low Chariot performing after the game on the localflavor.com deck. So another reason to swing by Clipper Magazine Stadium here tonight.
Well, I don't know about you, Dave Collins, but I have never been so happy to see clouds in my life, because I was thinking to myself all day long, oh my gosh, those first 5 innings, we are just going to fry like bacon in here. But along came the clouds, and been pretty comfortable.
Not threatening clouds, just clouds.
Yes.
First pitch missing to Mark Krause, who picked up a walk back in the 2nd. .6'3" left-hander from Georgia deals. This is popped up, foul ground. Weber will start after it, but there is no play.
Yeah, he had a good series against the Bees. He went 3 for 6, a double, 2 home runs, 5 runs batted in.
Everybody else got to split up the last 6 days and face 2 opponents. Well, the Barnstormers were enjoying their stay down in Texas. That series went very well. Everybody had a great time down there. The Krause hard hit ground ball, but right at Clevenger. Digs it up. That's 1 out here in the 4th inning.
Yeah, it makes the trip a little more enjoyable when you take 4 out of 6.
There 2 games the Barnstormers lost, they lost with a capital L. I mean, those were blowouts. But taking 4 out of 6, it was a very good series. All in all, they also put together a couple of blowouts of the Sugarland Skeeters. There were only 2 games out of the 6, the first one and the last one, that were competitive. And the Barnstormers won both those games. And I think that's why they were ultimately happy coming out of there. Very often a season is decided on what you do in the close ball games. The Barnstormers were down 4-1 in the opener, scored 3 in the 7th to tie and 3 in the 9th to win it, and then won 3-1 in the broiler that was Wednesday morning.
And then you mentioned that they both teams were on the same flight.
We were on the same flight back from Sugar Land, which I knew was going to happen because Sugar Land right now is in York. And they started that series last night. And that's fun, too, because ultimately these guys all know each other. 0-2. Ball is low, 1-2. I was teased by Kevin Aarons. He was sitting in the row in front of me, and I really hate doing this, but sometimes it's unavoidable. I fell asleep and woke up with just the worst stiff neck. And then it's even got worse last night. It's better now. Popped up out in front of the plate. This can be tricky. De La Rosa squares underneath and makes the catch. 2 are gone, and Pacheco comes in.
Well, to De La Rosa, to his benefit, that thing was sky high. It gave him a chance to pick it up, track it down, get good position, and squeeze it, because Garrett Weber was coming down the line, ready to make the call.
This guy has been a rock. Yeah. And Tyler Clark has learned a lot from De La Rosa. This is hit deep to right field by Pacheco. Way back it goes. The walls will not contain it. Garner knew it right off the bat. Pacheco twice now has gone to right field. This one leaves the yard, and it's a 3-1 ball game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When it left the bat, you knew it was gone.
That is the 14th home run off of Leverett on the season. The ultimate fit for this ballpark, and the Barnstormers know this with Garrett Weber here, is a right-handed batter who has a good opposite field swing. Weber, with a lot of home runs, most of his home runs this year are up onto that deck, and we see Pacheco go that way. A slugging lefty doesn't really need it. And Casey Hobson, out of his 21 home runs, it landed on the deck, once, maybe twice? The grand slam off of Dustin Richardson against Sugar Land did, but usually Hobson's were hit about 350, liner out the right. Coming in, Garner, he makes the sliding play. That will end the 4th inning. A run on a hit. Nobody left on base. Pacheco gets Long Island on the board. It's 3-1 going to the bottom of the 4th. Barnstormers fans, young and old, out here tonight, enjoying the 3-1 lead the Barnstormers presently own. And there's the sun and the aforementioned clouds Meanwhile, we'll be back here on BRC 11 with our 2 o'clock Sunday game, the series finale. The Barnstormers will go on the road for the next week after that. And tomorrow night, James Murray and I will have the game for you on the Barnstormers YouTube channel. Go Barnstormers Baseball. Cole Garner leads off the home fourth. Gets a pitch upstairs for the ball. Garner with a home run to right center field. Back in the second. 313, 26 home runs. Over 90 runs batted in the 2014 season for Garner. Bouncer along the line at third, and this will belong to Ross Peoples. Garner would have been the player of the year in the Atlantic League that year, except he faded the last couple of weeks. He was headed even possibly for a triple crown. Wow. And just petered out ever so slightly the last couple of weeks. Lou Ford ended up winning the honors. But what a great season Garner had. Ball one, strike one. Slowly hit again, foul up the third base line, 1-2.
Yeah, he was fun to watch that season. I mean, just a model of consistency. Unfortunately, to, like you said, the last couple of weeks. Just a, steady at the plate, fine defensive player.
And such a bruiser. This guy is just crazy strong. Perez back to work with the 1-2. Smashed off his leg, trickling free into shallow right field. And Garner with a base hit. Hopefully, Rafael Perez okay after that one because he just took a shot.
Perez has got to feel like he's got a target on him or something. That's the third ball tonight that has come right back at him. I think it ricocheted off his leg.
That's what it looked like to me as well. And even if Sonko gets there, there's no chance for a play because Perez wasn't about to get over and cover first after that. And Garner with the base hit. Donnie Pitchford out checking in on Rafael Perez. I'm sure he's going to have the opportunity here to throw one or two. Pitchers get hit like that a lot. It's an occupational hazard. As long as it gets you in the legs, you can typically shake them off unless you get one in the kneecap somehow. And there are those rare but definitely scary cases where they get hit in the head by a line drive. I've seen one or two of those in my career. And when it happens, it's frightening. Who was it that got Kip Gross? Well, he's one of the worst ones, I think, if I remember correctly.
Well, and J.A. Happ got one. Yeah. And you have a split second. I mean, basically, no time to react.
Weber reached on a single to the hole at shortstop his first time up. Perez to the plate and is low. What's good about having Garner back is you have a right-handed batter who's very good against left-handed pitching. And we're seeing that already here tonight. Because Weber and Halton are actually hit right-handed pitchers better. So it's good to have the mix. There's a fly ball by Garrett out toward right center. Playable for Delta Cleary, though it is carrying almost to the track. First out here in the fourth inning. Josh Bell stepping in. Bell a single. Back in the second.
Yeah, we're early on in the beginning of the ball game. The fly ball seemed to just die when they got to the outfield. Now, you just mentioned, it seemed like the ball now starting to carry a little bit better.
Garner's definitely did. The ball hit by Sonko faded. The ball hit by Cleary faded in the early innings. Now here's JB, 1 for 1 tonight, 7 for 29 on the year. Still just has the 1 run batted in on the home run, his first at bat of the season over at York. Pitch to him, breaks inside, ball 1-0.
Speaking of York, that's a team that you mentioned on the last homestand to keep an eye out for in the second half of the season.
And right now they are in first by half a game over the Barnstormers and Southern Maryland. The ball 1 pitch, JB fooled, off speed, and it's a ball and a strike. There goes Garner. The 1-1 is low. The throw by Pacheco is offline. Cole Garner has his first stolen base as a Barnstormer, so he can join in. Josh Bell stole it on the road trip. I told him the next day, I thought they were going to have to bring the paddles upstairs and revive me, knowing that Josh is not 100% in terms of the legs. The knee has the bad knee from winter ball. Garner, not quite as surprising.
Well, and so many times they say that's a steal on the catcher. That was definitely off of Perez.
Absolutely.
Garner with a great jump.
Pacheco didn't have much of a chance. 2 balls and a strike on Bell. Popped up foul out of play. Barnstormers trying to stay out of the potential double play ground ball here.
Be nice to get that run back that they surrendered on that Pacheco home run. Get this lead back up to 3.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and a Bell inside. Josh typically has a very good eye. I don't know that it's been as sharp this year as we saw it last year, but it will get there.
Right, you got to play on a consistent basis. And Bell, as we mentioned, kind of thrown into some spot start duties.
Here's the payoff pitch, foul ball to the top of the screen. Eric wanted it.
Oh, that was destined for us. Although, on my luck, it would have hit the overhang.
The score remains Mark 1, Eric 0.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Still a 3-2 count on Bell. De La Rosa is on deck. He's already knocked in a run tonight. Payoff once more. Bell gets the walk. It'll reset the double play possibility, but they'll bring on De La Rosa. He doubled in a run in the 3-run Lancaster second inning. De La Rosa will bat. Coronado waits on deck. Lancaster leading by 2. But it has been somewhat of a matter of course for the Barnstormers over the last few days to score a bunch of runs in an early inning and then not do much the rest of the game. They had a 3-run fourth and did not have another base hit after that in the win at Sugar Land on Wednesday. The bullpen did a magnificent job there, backing up a pretty good start from Brian Evans. First pitch fastball good for a strike. It's 0-1.
Which is why if they can play a couple, at least a run here, kind of turn the trend, because as you mentioned, the pitchers also have that tendency of pitching great, but then there's that one inning. So if they can pad that and really give Leverett a little more breathing room.
I think having the new guys in will help that situation. Amaral and Clevenger being here. Just so much of this team, they got so worn out from that stretch prior to the All-Star break. And a couple days in, it looked like the All-Star break took care of it. And then you hit the heat and the humidity down in Texas. To De La Rosa, that ball cracked well out the left field, racing back on it. Krause leaps up. That ball's over his head and rolling to the wall. Garner coming around to score. Bell will jog into third, and De La Rosa has his second RBI double here tonight. The Barnstormers leading 4-1. And how about that for De La Rosa? He goes down the right field line in the second inning and then plants one over the head of the left fielder Krause here in the fourth. That ball was crushed by De La Rosa.
Different spots, same result.
Second and third with one out once again for Nate Coronado. He didn't come through the last time.
Well, he just continues to produce.
Pitching coach Billy Horn out to talk to Perez. Again, Coronado will step in with runners at second and third, one out. Get a look at Anderson De La Rosa, now his 20th double of the season. And I don't know if the Barnstormers thought they could count on that much offense out of Anderson. As Ross said, he signed him because he's a proverbial catch and throw guy, and certainly a great thrower that we've seen all year. But I think the offense has been a bonus, and De La Rosa has definitely provided it here. Now again, the infield will play about halfway with Bell the runner at third. They don't need to come all the way to the grass. To Coronado, a swing and a miss against Perez. No balls and a strike. Nate grounded a short back in the second inning.
Now, the only thing I noticed about De La Rosa before that double, he had to step out of the box. I don't know if he twisted wrong, but he kept going to his hip, and he's still kind of going to his hip, trying to stay loose. I'm hoping that he didn't hurt himself in some capacity.
In the rundown, that's where you might think it would go back to. Making the sharp moves that he had to make there.
Yeah.
It'll just be another ice bag for Anderson after a game. 1-1, strike two on the breaking pitch to Nate.
Well, and the fact that, toward the end before the All-Star break, when you mentioned that really dinged up, needed some time off, hats off to Tyler Clark, who filled in admirably and played well, helping himself out, helping the ball club, and at the same time helping De La Rosa.
Perez to Coronado at a ball and 2 strikes. Slapped foul. Nate gets to stick around at 1-2. His first home game, so maybe some nerves here for Coronado. We don't know how many members of his family and inner circle of friends came over from Philadelphia. That could create some butterflies too. He was quite a story on the road trip. 1-2 offering outside and high.
Well, you mentioned before we came on the air tonight that this guy's a ball of fire.
I think the fans will enjoy Coronado. Very lively personality. He's blended in really well with this ball club. Here's a 2-2 offering. He stays alive.
No, and that's just kind of the MO of this organization. That not only are they going to bring in quality baseball players, they're going to bring in quality players, people as well. Because let's face it, the last thing you need is somebody that does not get along or can somehow be a thorn in their side. And the aforementioned son that we talked about now making an appearance.
To Coronado, here's the 2-2, strike 3 call. He goes down looking for the second out of the inning, and Amaral will try to deliver again. 0-1 for 2 in his debut. So his first game at home isn't going so well for Nate Coronado, but this ball club, we've said it all year, if one guy doesn't come through, that's been coming through for the last couple of days, somebody else picks it up. Nobody has had a long hitting streak on this ball club all year. 11 is the longest, and we haven't seen anything even approach that for a while. The Coronado had a 5-game streak coming into tonight. Now Bo Amaral. Check swing and a strike here. It is 0-1. We're looking for Amaral to perhaps be, and we're not going to know for sure until we watch him play for a while, but a player hopefully like a Logan Schaefer was here for a month or so last year. Just a very good defensive outfielder, left-handed batter, can slap the ball around. He's not going to be your home run guy. He's not going to be a Gindel or a Galen. It's not his approach. And we don't want to change him because of that short porch and right.
Exactly.
We want to see what we saw back in the second inning, that line drive to left center field knocking in runs. Ball 1, strike 1.
Hey, if you can get a 3 out of 4 night from Amaral and all 3 are base hits, take it. Because you got to think that right field wall has got to get into their minds.
It gets into pitchers' heads.
Sure.
Hitters' heads. 1-1. Ball 2 is low. 2-1. And the longer you can hold it off, the better off you are. Pitchers, of course, have to change their approach here. These hitters are too good in the Atlantic League, and they're going to take advantage. A right-handed batter is going to take that pitch up and over the plate, and he's going to go to right field with it. We've seen Garner do it tonight. We've seen Pacheco do it tonight. Two runners in scoring position. Amaral has the count going his way. 2 balls and a strike. Rafael Perez back to work inside. Noel is the man on deck. Amaral would prefer the base hit, but he'll take the walk right now against his pretty good left-hander. 3-1 offering, and he'll get the walk. Noel will have the chance instead. Perez issuing his second walk. They've both come this inning. Bell drew the other one.
Well, if you got a guy at the plate that could really use a base hit, this is the guy.
He is struck out, fly to center field tonight. Noel with the bases loaded is 0 for 5 on the season. Opportunity for him here with 2 outs. Perez to the plate, way upstairs, ball 1-0.
Well, the Long Island bullpen had been active. It looks as though that they're ready to go. If Perez continues to struggle here in the 4th.
One ball pitch taken for a strike. It is 1-1. It is a left-hander warming up in the bullpen for Long Island.
John Lannon.
Pop fly behind shortstop. This belongs to Dan Lyons. The Barnstormers aren't able to do any more here in the 4th inning. They do get 1. 2 hits, but 3 left. Ducks still in it. We're through 4. 4-1 Lancaster. Jordan Pacheco going deep in the top of the inning, but the Barnstormers were able to answer that run. Cole Garner doing a lot of it. Infield base hit, a steal of second, and he comes home on the double by Anderson De La Rosa. De La Rosa and Garner, the stars of the game for the Barnstormers here tonight. We get another brilliant sunset here at Clipper Magazine Stadium. This is one of the great features of this ballpark, and it comes at this time of day. Before that, that sun is just glowing in here. You wonder why I don't put on too many pounds. It's not because I don't eat food I shouldn't eat. It's just because it gets baked out of me from about 6:30 to 8 most nights. But you approach sunset here. We have some of the greatest sunsets at this ballpark you'll ever see.
Yeah, that's one of the benefits. It's getting to see the benefit is the painful part. Those 4 innings with the sun directly in our eyes, but the end result is amazing.
Lions with a ground ball foul up the third base side. A ball and a strike to the Long Island shortstop leading off here in the 5th inning. That was the 61st pitch of the night for Leverett. Back into the motion. Brilliant pitch for strike 2. Leverett trying to even his record against Long Island at 2-2 and get his overall record to 6-5. Slap to shortstop. Coronado with the pick and the throw in time. Lions retired 6-3. Barry will step in. All he has got a Coronado right now is that he just be clean. And he has been that. He made a really nice play at Sugarland the other night, moving over to shortstop after Vladimir Frias went to Jackson, Tennessee. Clevenger's a catcher by trade, but has moved out to first base, and he's going to largely do that here. But if the Barnstormers have to put him behind the plate, they can. Ground ball, right side. There's Clevenger. Underhanding to Leverett. Nice play by Steve Clevenger. 2 outs in the inning. Leverett getting ground balls. You love it.
Might be a catcher by trade, but he looked really nice and fluid on that play. Perfect lead to Leverett covering the bag. That's well done.
That's as well as you can turn it.
And, you know, the fact that he is a catcher by trade, that's nice to have because you never know. You know, if De La Rosa or Clark needs some extra time off, you got another guy that can step in.
Delta Cleary Jr. at the plate. He has a base hit tonight. Takes a strike here from Lev. It is 0-1. Cleary's had a pretty nice season series against the Barnstormers. He's hitting .293 into the dirt. Ball 1, strike 1. Barnstormers with the day off yesterday. The Ducks also the day off yesterday. The only 2 clubs in the Atlantic League not to play last night, and that means both bullpens are fresh, ready to go. Foul ball back. It is 1-2. When you speak about the Barnstormers bullpen, one of the great things Ross Peoples has done this year is a guy out there has a bad outing. He gets him back out there as soon as possible to shake it off. On the road trip to Sugarland, it affected Scott Schumann. Schumann had his worst outing of the year in the ball game on Tuesday night. He gave up 5 hits, 4 runs in an inning. Ball 2 misses to Cleary. 2 balls and 2 strikes. So what does Ross do? He gets him back in there the next day. Barnstormers up 3-1. Only about 14 hours later, 15 hours later, Schumann pitches a 1-2-3 inning. Fly ball foul down the right side and holds the 3-1 lead. And he struck out 2 in the process. I mean, it's great that Ross has been able to do that. It's been part of his MO not to let a relief pitcher sit on a bad outing and have to fret about it for 3 or 4 days till he gets him back in there. And I think Ross, being a relief pitcher for most of his time here, understands the mentality.
Yep.
2 balls, 2 strikes, and that's knocked foul to the right as well.
Yeah, if there's anybody that would know what it's like, Ross has been through it. I mean, let's face it, his entire career is here. And, you know, a pitcher's going to have a bad outing. It's going to happen. The fact that, I don't want to say we were spoiled, but we just got so used to seeing Schumann coming in and just shut down. All right, a bump in the road.
2-2 inside and hits Cleary. Well, that puts a runner on for Long Island in front of Lou Ford. And so far tonight, Leverett has handled Ford pretty well. Ford has struck out and bounced back to the mound, but that doesn't mean it will continue. It's Lou Ford. This guy makes me quiver in my shoes. Watched too much over the years. Ford, a guy who's gone from the Atlantic League back to the majors and back to the Atlantic League. He comes to Long Island, player coach. Kevin Baez relies pretty heavily on him. This guy has a tremendous reputation in the game of baseball. Just ask Stan Clyburn, who managed Ford in the Twins organization. One of Stan's all-time favorite players. Popped up over toward the seats. No play except for the fans. Ford is down a strike at his 0-1. When that came off the bat, you were hoping for the kind of cheap, quick out on Ford to get out of the inning, because then you got Sonko on deck. And Leverett has managed Ford and Sonko very well tonight, and hopefully it will continue, but you got the 2-out base runner here in the 5th inning, and you got to get through these two. Leverett goes to work, and it's inside. Ball 1, strike 1. Pacheco and Cleary have been the only base runners for the Ducks in the game, and they've been on a couple of times each. Well, I take that. Krause and Reyes are walking there. There goes Cleary, and it's grounded to Coronado. He's got to make the long throw across the diamond. It's there. Leverett keeps getting the ground balls. I like the fact he's been able to get Lou Ford to go 0 for 3 here tonight. No runs, no hits, no errors. 1 left. Bottom of the 5th coming up. The Lancaster Barnstormers leading by 3.
Well, coming up on Sunday, the bookend of this 3-game series. Very short homestand for the Barnstormers, and we'll wrap it up Sunday afternoon. 2 o'clock first pitch, Long Island Ducks, Lancaster Barnstormers. Tuesday afternoon, or it's Tuesday. How about Sunday afternoon, 2 p.m. Barnstormer baseball here on BRC 11.
Tuesday afternoon, the Barnstormers will be playing in New Britain. We have a day game on that trip. Concession stands aren't terribly busy right now. They were packed before the game.
But I'm sure the cold drinks and ice cream is a big seller here tonight.
That's where everybody is. They're at the Turkey Hill stand. It'll melt in like 2 minutes and 37 seconds. It'll be down to soup. Here's Steve Clevenger. 0 for 2 at the plate. A couple of good swings in. Now facing John Lannon, the longtime Washington Nationals starting pitcher. Lannon fools him with the first pitch. It's 0-1. Perez threw a lot of pitches. Took the shot in the leg from Garner last inning. And leaves after giving up 7 hits and 4 runs in 4 innings here tonight. Lannon taking over. He was in the rotation for the Nationals from 08 through 11. And for the Phillies for a while. Lined the other way by Clevenger. 0-2. Also handled the glove really well tonight as Clevenger put on a nice show in the field. 0-2 breaking ball. 3-pitch strikeout for Lannon. Sean Halton stepping in. Halton's 0 for 2. Halton robbed by Elmer Reyes first time up and then popped the short the second after cracking one out of here fouled on the left field line. Clevenger is not going to be Casey Hobson. I want to put that thought out of everybody's mind right here, right now. He's not going to be Casey Hobson.
No.
You don't replace KC with an equivalent in this league easily. And by the way, Hobson has 5 home runs already down at Richmond.
Does he really?
He's not hitting for a high average, but he does have 5 home runs. So that's 26 now on the season over 3 months. 4 pitches, 4 strikes for Lannon. He finally misses to get the 1-1. Garner on deck, and remember we talked about it earlier. Garner is a guy who hits left-handed pitching very well. He's a terrific addition to this ball club. First couple of games at Sugarland, he was 0 for 9, and I don't think it went through anybody's mind. Terrible panic. Chopper on the right side. There is Sonko. Perfect lead to Lannon. 2 outs. Garner tonight against Perez. 2 for 2. A home run and a smash off the leg for a base hit. Has a stolen base. A really strong throw from the outfield. Yeah, I think Cole Garner's back.
Oh, yeah. Well, what was he doing before he got the call?
He was in Japan, but not in the Japanese major leagues. And their minor league system over there, if you want to call it a system, you spend more time practicing and working out than you do playing games.
Oh.
And I think, from what I understand, he grew a little dissatisfied with that. He was actually property of the New Britain Bees from last year. But the Bees owed us a couple of players, and Stan Clyburn and Ross talked it out and said, take Cole as the player to be named later for Mike Lee. The Barnstormers are still owed one for Michael Krause. Garner fouls it the other way. Lannon has him 0-2.
Yeah, well, they definitely owe us after that home run robbing catch that he made against Casey Hobson.
Barnstormers had seen Lannon for a couple of innings at Long Island over 2 appearances and reached him for 5 hits and a run. But certainly nothing tonight so far. 0-2 to Garner, and he swings and misses. A masterful inning for John Lannon here in the bottom half of the 5th. We're through 5, 4-1 Lancaster. That's a fair weather vane here tonight. Nice night, albeit a little warm and humid. Barnstormers' home run drought ended by Cole Garner at 64 and a third innings here tonight. All it took was the Barnstormers coming back home, but they did fail to hit one the last game of the York Series, heading into the All-Star break, and it went 0 for Sugarland in terms of long balls. Can you imagine a Barnstormers team winning 4 out of 6 without hitting a home run?
Yeah, that's odd.
That is really peculiar. Sonko with a swing and a miss. It's 0-1. The Barnstormers don't necessarily design their team to be bashers, but it always ends up that way. And Lancaster, year in and year out, up toward the top of the Atlantic League in hitting home runs as a ball club. Part of it because of this field, and part of it because the home run hitters just accumulate on the roster here. Outside for a ball, 1-1.
And 64 innings is an eternity for a team that has typically hit a lot of home runs.
Garner connecting in the second inning. 1-1. Ground ball rolled to Clevenger at first. He'll wave off Leverett. And Sonko tonight is 0 for 3. Jarrett Leverett has gone to school against a guy who has been certainly a big headache for him this year. Wow. Tomorrow night, the Barnstormers will face Dennis O'Grady. And talk about somebody who is just eternally grateful that Casey Hobson is no longer in a Barnstormers uniform. Hobson had 4 home runs and 5 at-bats against O'Grady. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite to that extent.
Well, then what they need to do is put a video clip of those home runs up on the screen between innings. Just keep repeating it over and over again.
Or have specialty jerseys with everybody wearing number 18. One-0 pitch. That's drilled to center by Krause. Coming on for it is the center fielder Amaral, and that is down for a base hit.
Yeah, I think at the last second, Amaral knew he wasn't going to get to it, so then he had to go into the defensive mode to make sure he just kept it in front of him. Not that Krause is one that's going to be flying around the bases, but
those are the 2 first basemen there side by side, folks. There's a rather significant difference. Krause is a big dude. Not as big as Nate Fryman they had earlier this year. He went 6'9", I believe. 1 out, 1 on. Reyes the batter. And he hits a high fly ball out the left. This is carrying on Halton, but there's plenty of room out there. Sean with the catch for out number 2, and Krause hustles back to first base.
Well, and again, we're starting to get to that time of the night where the sky is going to be a little bit tricky.
It's not a high sky. Usually that's the cloudless night where you get that, but it still can be interesting.
Yeah, and you could see Halton went back a little bit and kind of stuttered step, and then once he picked it up, then he knew, okay, not only make the catch, but he got it in quickly. That's a long way out there.
Now the guy who has been the problem for Leverett tonight, Jordan Pacheco, the one-time Rockies utility man. Catcher and infielder is Pacheco. Yes, a single to right and a home run to right. So if you're Leverett, you've got to pitch him in here. The delivery, and that's exactly where he wanted to deal. It's 0-1. The home run back in the 4th inning, Pacheco's 2nd of the season. You see some major league experience on this Long Island ball club. Ball is low, 1-1 with Rafael Perez, John Lannon, Jordan Pacheco.
And they've done that through the years, too.
Yeah, Quentin Berry has been around the major leagues, never established, but he's got a lot of time in and out. Ball 2 is low. Pacheco wouldn't bite for it. 2-1 count. Leverett trying to hold the 3-run lead through the 6th inning. David Aardsma is their closer. One-time Seattle closer. It's like a Mariners reunion here. We keep bringing up Seattle tonight. 2-1 pitch. Beaten foul.
That got De La Rosa right off the toe.
Amaral's dad, Clevenger, Aardsma. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Pacheco. De La Rosa gets to shake off another bump. The guy is tough as nails, and yet when you deal with Anderson off the field, he is the most gentle, sedate, calm, friendly, likable human being. You don't pick up any of that with him in the clubhouse. 2-2, line drive again to right field. Garner taking it on a couple of bounces. Pacheco's 3 for 3. Giovanni Alfonso has lined out sharply twice to the right side. He's got 2 men on in front of him. We're going to have a mound visit. Scott Patterson coming out.
Well, nothing stirring yet in the Lancaster bullpen, so this is just going to be one of those visits to make sure that Leverett makes the right pitch selection here with Alfonso. You don't want to give up a run.
Again, you got to keep the right-handed batters from going to right field.
Yeah.
It's scary. This is the tying run at the plate, and Alfonso isn't a home run guy, but he's already established that he's a right-handed batter that can go to right field. He's lined to Clevenger and he's lined to Garner tonight. So you can't let him get a ball up onto the deck, or you've got a brand new ball game here. Sugarland leading York 6-1 tonight. They're in the 6th inning. Bridgeport up 4-1 over Southern Maryland in the 4th. And New Britain and Somerset tied 1-1. They're in the bottom half of the 4th inning. We have gotten to the 6th inning here.
Yeah, he's got 2 home runs. You don't want to get put in a position where you're giving up his 3rd of the season.
And it's outside, ball 1-0. Dan Lyons, the shortstop, on deck. Another guy who can hurt you.
I thought maybe somebody would get up and just start loosening up for Lancaster.
Here's the 1-0. Foul to the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Leverett's pitch count starting to get up there, too. I've got him at 87.
Yeah. Which might not sound like a lot, but again, you got to take into consideration the hot, humid night.
Yeah. 1-1. And Alfonso fouled to the screen. Leverett working ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sugarland has the 6-1 lead tonight behind league ERA leader Michael Nix, who's just pitching brilliantly. The Barnstormers ended a scoreless inning streak of 40 1/3 for Nix.
Whoa.
With 3 runs in the 2nd inning when they faced him and still lost down in Texas. Josh Prince, it looks like, has a grand slam in that game tonight. Here's a 1-2. Just inside.
Oh.
And it looked like De Jesus flinched there for a second.
He did. Yes, he did. I was waiting for him to ring him up.
2-2. Leverett comes back, and this is hit in the air to shallow right center field. Coming on, Garner. And Leverett is through the inning. He survives the scare. 2 hits, 2 left for the Long Island Ducks. They have stranded 7 for the game. Barnstormers continue to lead by 3. Barnstormers have held on to the 3-run lead. Jarrett Leverett has given Lancaster a strong 6 innings here tonight. Future major leaguers.
And that getting out of that last inning was big too for Leverett.
But I gotta tell the little one though, that's a ball. You can't go to your mouth. It's a ball. Umpire's already called it. Garrett Weber, Josh Bell, and Anderson De La Rosa will be facing the left-hander John Lannon as we go into the bottom of the 6th inning. Lannon dominated the 5th. 2 strikeouts and a 3-1 grounder. Played to perfection by Sonko and Lannon.
So I guess you can say he kind of fits that definition of that crafty left-hander.
Beautiful breaking ball to start off Weber. It's 0-1. He did it all on 9 pitches last inning. I mean, very quick work of both Clevenger and Garner. Ripped foul past Ross to the tarp. 2 strikes.
Well, not to be greedy with a 3-run lead, but a couple of extra runs really would be nice to see.
The wind's picked up. It's blowing out toward right field. You can't count on a 4-1 lead to be safe in this ballpark, ever. But especially on a warm night with the wind blowing to right field. Lannon backs off for a moment. There's a ton of major league experience in this battery. Lannon and Pacheco. 0-2 to Garrett. Fouled away.
Pretty good crowd here on this Friday night. Barnstormers celebrating the farming community this weekend, and before too long, that Lancaster County sweet corn will be available.
The best.
Oh, I tell you what, we're spoiled between the sweet corn and the Washington Borough tomatoes.
Third strikeout for the 32-year-old John Lannon. Josh Bell will give it a try. Bell is singled and walked. Long Island has Ardsma, Henderson Alvarez, Yuri De La Rosa, Jake Dunning, John Lannon, Rafael Perez, Alfredo Simon, Big Pasta, we remember just talking about that. Jordan Pacheco, Ruben Gotay, Mark Krause, Quentin Berry, and Lou Ford with Major League time.
Jeez.
That is a large list. Ball is outside to Bell 1-0. This league has really been able to go in that direction over the past several years. You used to see that occasional Major League star float through here. The Carl Everetts and Henry Rodriguez's and the like. But I remember the first Barnstormer season, we were excited because we had Ryan Miner and Troy Mattis. Bell hits the ball well to center field. Cleary going back. He'll reach up to make the catch for out number 2. Josh squaring that up pretty well. Now here's De La Rosa, who's 2 for 2 with 2 RBI doubles. You look at the Barnstormers, they've got Brad Bergeson, who's been in the major leagues here. Anthony Carter's been in the major leagues in Japan, but not in the U.S. Rami Lewis, Daniel Moscas, Josh Bell, Steve Clevenger, Sean Halton, Rico Noel, Cole Garner, Lastings Millage, and Trayvon Robinson. Now the only significant name really, to Millage and Bergeson, both with a significant amount of time in the major leagues, but there's so many more guys with big league time, and you hear it over and over again. They come here because of the reputation of the league as being a high-level league, and they see it as the way back. Or in the case of Austin Bivens-Dirks, the way there. The way back to affiliated ball, and the way to the major leagues for the first time. 1-0 to De La Rosa. Nice pitch to the outside corner, backdoor breaking ball. It's 1-1. I had a chance to interview Bivens-Dirks yesterday for the lead story in our next program, and was very honest about it. He said the reputation's out there. If you want to get back to a major league organization, possibly to the major leagues, go to the Atlantic League. Fouled at the plate, 1-2 to De La Rosa.
Was Texas at home? Or was this all...
They were in Baltimore, but I called him over the phone. I talked to him on the phone yesterday. He says hello to everyone in Lancaster. And, he wasn't here that long, just a couple of months last year, and didn't set the world on fire, but got the opportunity with Texas. The Rangers love him.
He's given them some great outings.
1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 outs. Back to work for Lannon to De La Rosa, and he gets fooled. Well, that's 4 strikeouts. He is making it look awfully easy out there tonight as John Lannon. We've completed 6. It's still 4-1 Lancaster. That sunset keeps getting more intense as we go here tonight. Barnstormers with a 3-run lead, and they've gone to their bullpen. This has to be a very satisfying outing tonight for Jarrett Leverett. He'd been roughed up by the Ducks in his 3 starts against them. His ERA was just a hair short of 10 in those 3 appearances tonight. 6 innings, 5 hits, and a run. He gave up the home run to Pacheco in the 4th. Pacheco, the only guy who was able to solve Leverett the entire game. Pacheco 3 for 3, only 2 hits outside of that. We head to the 7th inning. Daniel Moscas comes in, and we know that because we hear the voice of the great late George Michael. 0 for 2 is Lyons. First pitch is low, ball 1 and no strikes. And I've never asked Daniel about his choice of walk-up music. I typically don't. But in a sense, there is a connection. Daniel Moscas is of Greek descent, and so is George Michael.
Okay.
He grew up in Britain, but if you ever saw his actual name, it's a Greek name about 15 letters long. But I don't remember off the top of my head. Missing for ball 2. Lyons has the early edge in the count. Moscas 3-1 with a 2.81 ERA. This is his 35th ball game. And he's low for ball 3. Berry and Cleary will follow. Berry a left-handed hitter, Cleary a switch hitter. Wind has died back down here. And Lyons from Rochester, Minnesota, awaiting the 3-0 pitch. That finds its way into the zone. Fastball is there, 3-1.
It's bored. Really bored. It's cool out here. It's cool. Oh, that's not even fair.
Strike two. Moskos has fought his way back into it.
Well, Fred DeJesus appears to be giving that higher strike zone, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, he's supposed to.
Exactly.
3-2 pitch, foul to the screen. Leverett 90 pitches tonight, 5 hits, 1 run, hit a batter, walked 1, struck out 2.
Worked out of a couple of jams in both the second and 6th innings.
Payoff is due to Lyons, and it's bounced to the plate. A leadoff walk here in the 7th inning. And that's something you do not see Daniel Moskos do all that often. It's only the 3rd time in the 35 appearances this year he has walked the first batter he's faced.
Wow.
And that creates immediate issues. Runner on, and Quentin Berry, the left-handed batting right fielder, comes to the plate. He's hit 3 ground balls tonight, but is there ever going to be any time to turn 2 against Berry? He can fly down that line.
It's going to have to be one hit right at Clevenger where he can step on the bag and throw it down to second.
Fouled away. 1 strike to Berry. Quentin Berry has been around. He's 32 years of age. Most recently, he was in Rochester in the Minnesota organization. But this guy has some travel log in professional baseball. Swing and a miss. It's 0-2. And on top of that, he's the only guy named Quinton that's spelled Quintin to have made it to the major leagues.
Oh.
Just as a point of note.
You get that from the Elias Sports Bureau?
Just baseball reference.
Oh, okay.
I type in Quinton. He's the only one that comes up. Strike 3 call.
Good pitch.
Now Moskos gets through the left-hander on just 3 pitches, a walk and a strikeout for Daniel. Quentin Berry has been to the major leagues with Detroit, Boston, Baltimore, and the Cubs over 4 separate seasons. Silo taking it all in tonight. His ball club needing 8 more outs. Delta Cleary Jr. coming in. He won't be easy to double up either. Silo has to be enjoying the night as bovine cousins are out en masse.
A family reunion.
Yeah, exactly. 1 ball, 1 out. Inside to Cleary. John Erisman, member of the Barnstormers front office staff, has gone above and beyond putting this weekend together. Following up on the farm show with last year's All-Star game. Ball 2 to Cleary. Moskos, no problem with the left-handed batter. He's having trouble throwing strikes to the right-handed hitters. And you've got Lou Ford on deck. 2 balls and nothing to Delta Cleary Jr. here. Ducks have left 7 on base tonight. The Barnstormers just 4. 2-0. Right there.
Yeah, this is a guy that can be dangerous. Don't want to make any mistakes.
1 out, 1 on to Cleary. 2-1. It's low, but you don't want to give up the walk. You've got to deal with Ford and then Sonko. 3 balls, 1 strike.
Who have been quiet here tonight, but you don't want to do the law of averages because between Ford and Sonko, ooh.
Cleary batting 3-1, 1 out, 1 on. Moskos will fire ball 4. He has walked 2 in the inning.
That might bring a visit from Scott Patterson. Maybe. No?
This is the first time all year that Moskos has walked 2 batters in the same appearance. He had walked 9 coming into tonight overall. So Alex Berg is going to bat for Ford here in the DH role. I don't know if Ford may have strained something trying to leg out a ground ball, but he is shut down for the night, and Berg will step in. guy is their other catcher. 212 hitter, but he does have 7 home runs. Moskos to the plate. He's inside, ball 1. He can't find the strike zone to the right-handed batters. He struck out Barry on 3 pitches, but this is trouble now. Tying run at the plate. 1 out as Lyons and Cleary are on board. That's ball 2 to Alex Berg.
You know, in one aspect, I'm thinking, okay, you're pinch hitting for Ford. Ooh, you breathe the sigh of relief. But the thing is, you get a ground ball at a Lou Ford, you know you've got a double play. Problem is, right now he can't throw a strike.
He's got to find the range, but you don't want to make it too good here.
No.
Native of the state of Washington is Alex Berg. 2 balls and nothing. Moskos to the plate. Swing and a foul tip. 2-1. Very precarious spot here in the 7th inning. Moskos and the Barnstormers would love nothing more than a double play ground ball. But you've got an infield that hasn't worked together very long. And in the case of Clevenger, not at all prior to tonight. 2-1 on Berg. Swing and a miss. Make it 2-2. The left-handed batting Sonko is on deck. Moskos trying to fight back here. Two balls, 2 strikes. Lyons and Cleary on board with 1 out. Moskos to the plate. Fouled back. Still 2-2. John Lannon has done an incredible job tonight.
Yeah.
Keeping the Long Island Ducks in the game. 6 up and 6 down, 4 on strikes over the last 2 innings. Two and 2 on Berg. Swing and a miss. A big second out for Daniel Moskos. Now he faces the left-handed batting Sonko. Sonko 0 for 3 tonight against the lefty starter Jarrett Leverett.
Wait, Moskos has really had to work this inning. If it's not a strikeout, it's a walk. It's a lot of pitches thrown here in this inning. He's got a chance to get out of it if he can retire Sonko.
Angelo Sonko is lined to deep left. He is struck out looking, and he has grounded out to first base. Mostly a shift on here. 15 home runs for Sonko on the year. Moskos to the plate, fouled off. Daniel getting ahead, no balls and a strike.
And hopefully De La Rosa remembers the fact that Sonko was fooled by those off-speed pitches in the earlier at bat, so look for Moskos to work that into his approach.
One strike on the slugging first baseman outfielder. He's pretty much taken over first base duties all the time now for the Ducks. Outside, De La Rosa looking for somewhere to throw, but no opportunity presented itself. Moskos working to Sonko at 1 ball and 1 strike. Angelo Sonko living in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which at least for a long time had the notoriety of having the only traffic light on Interstate 90. 1-1 pitch outside, 2 balls and a strike. Another left-handed batter on deck and Mark Krause. Still a delicate spot for Moskos here in the 7th, but the strikeout of Berg does take some of the pressure off. Here's a 2-1. It's low, 3 balls and a strike. Moskos last pitched on Monday. A scoreless inning to help the Barnstormers and Brad Bergeson wrap up a shutout. Through a 1-2-3 frame. down in Texas with 1 strikeout. (3-1) to Sonko. He'll be looking to drive something here. Runners lead off first and second. And the 3-1 pitch, swing and a miss. 26 pitches this half inning. Nothing has been put into play. Now Lyons and Cleary will be on the move here. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Angelo Sonko. This is a potentially pivotal pitch in this ball game.
Yeah.
Sonko could tie it, or Moskos could force the Ducks to strand 2 more tonight.
So what do you throw?
3-2, ready to go. Here's the payoff. Strike 3 call. Moskos with a nasty breaking ball. He ends up striking out 3 in a long inning for him. No runs, no hits, no errors. The Ducks strand 2 more. It's 9 for the game, and we will go to the bottom of the 7th with Lancaster leading 4-1. We've seen some home runs tonight, and we've also seen a pair of RBI doubles off the bat of Anderson De La Rosa. And as a result, the Barnstormers have the 4-1 lead. The Barnstormers have also received outstanding pitching here tonight from their 2 left-handers, Leverett and Moskos. And the Barnstormers have seen nothing but left-handed pitching tonight with 2 former big leaguers in Rafael Perez and John Lannon. Lannon has been perfect through 2 innings. Time for the Cotton Eye Joe, led by Cotton Eye Silo, I think.
Well, a huge sigh of relief by Moskos as he walked off the mound after getting Sonko, and just an absolutely gorgeous pitch.
I got the impression Moskos was chatting with the home plate umpire Freddie DeJesus after that inning, and I think that there may have been a couple of pitches where he didn't get the calls, but he got the big one to end it on that beautiful-looking breaking ball that throws Sonko. The Barnstormers will send Coronado, Amaral, and Noel to the plate against Lannon here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the Barnstormers still need 6 outs, but they're continuing to work with the 3-run lead. Coronado is 0 for 2 tonight. Hasn't had any production offensively. He's been up there in a couple of big spots and he hasn't been able to come through. A ball from Lannon, 1-0. He certainly did on the road, though. Ball 1 pitch. Coronado with a foul knocked out of play down the right field side. It is 1-1.
But defensively, he's made every play to him.
Yeah, he's been
Clevenger
solid.
has been good at first base tonight.
Garner and De La Rosa have been the offense.
Yes.
Lannon to Coronado at 1-1. That's a second strike on the inside corner. Lannon has just been brilliant. 4 strikeouts, a ground out by Halton, and a deep fly out for Bell. Coronado batting 1-2 here. Lannon ready to go. The pitch, breaking ball, rolled toward the middle. Lions will get there, scoop it up and throw. First out here in the 7th inning, the 7th straight set down by Lannon. In comes Bo Amaral. 1 for 2 with a walk for Bo in his Atlantic League debut.
And that was a big one, too. That base hit came with 2 outs. I don't care if it's the second inning or not. You get a 2-out single that plates a run. That's big.
His dad played baseball at UCLA before signing with the Cubs. And his father knows what it is like to spend a long time in the minors before getting all the way up to the big leagues. His dad didn't make his major league debut until 1991. Strike to the inside corner. It is 1 ball, 1 strike here. And Dad came out of the draft in '83. So it was 8 years in the making. This is Bo's 6th season. Strike 2 called from Lannon. They just want to wave the white flag where Lannon is concerned. But the good news for the Barnstormers is they may not see him again this weekend. He's in his 3rd inning of work tonight.
You know, Kevin Baez obviously going to keep riding with him.
1-2 offering. Amaral goes down swinging. My, oh my. That's 5. Rico Noel will give it a shot, and then Lannon will be 1 complete time through the order. But Amaral not just made it to the major leagues after 8 years. He stayed around from '91 all the way through 2000. Mostly with Seattle and some time with the Orioles at the end of it.
It just goes to show you how difficult it is to get to the major leagues.
Noel with a drive to right. This may be another run. Barry going back, looking up, and the walls will not contain it. Rico Noel breaks the spell of John Lannon, and it's 5-1 Lancaster. 2nd home run for Rico. The other one to the right field in York.
And that was not a Clipper Magazine special either. That cleared the 10th.
First hit for Noel tonight. Went with the pitch, got it in the air the other way, and hit it pretty solidly. Over the 10. First pitch low to Steve Clevenger. Ball 1-0. No hits for Clevenger tonight. Solid contact a couple of times. Emerald and Clevenger have to be thinking, great. We make our debut in the Atlantic League, and what do we face? 2 veteran Major League left-handers. Popped up behind second base. Lyons fading back to make the catch. Lannon recovers and gets a quick 3rd out of the inning. But Rico Noel puts the 5th Barnstormers run on the board tonight with a home run to the opposite field. We'll head to the 8th. The Barnstormers up 5-1. Barnstormers go back to the bullpen and bring on their right-handed ace, Scott Schumann. We talked about him earlier and how Ross Peoples got him back out there on Wednesday after a very rough outing Tuesday night. And Schumann came out and set the side down in order 1-2-3 to hold a 3-1 lead through the 8th inning. Schumann has been marvelous.
Well, the best thing you can do is get back in the saddle again.
Mark Krause, Elmer Reyes, and Jordan Pacheco will face Scott here in the 8th inning. I've got to tip my hand to Scott. Earlier today, one of the network affiliates from the area was out here. They were doing a lot of live news shots from the farm show. And I had asked for a player to come out to wear the giveaway jerseys from tomorrow, the auction jerseys. And Schumann was the guy who opted to do it, but I really didn't have a chance in between shoots to tell him exactly what he was going to do. So he came out there in the jersey, and it just so happened that the folks from the local station discovered a couple of cows, and they wanted to get the cows in the live shot as well, and Schumann ad-libbed it beautifully. First pitch high, ball one to Krause, 1-0. He just pointed at the cows and said, I'm just out here with two of my best friends, and he just played off it to a T. 1-0 to Mark Krause leading off the 8th inning. Shoe into the motion, he'll bring it home, and he misses for ball 2. Moscas had trouble throwing strikes last inning and was able to get out of it at the very end on his 27th pitch. There wasn't one put in play by the Ducks. Moscas walked 2, struck out 3. The final one on a 3-2 count. 2-0 now on Krause. Schumann into the motion, the pitch, swinging a foul tip. It's 2 balls and a strike.
Well, and the fact that they had the day off yesterday really helps Ross Peoples then as far as setting things up here in the latter stages of this ball game. Hopefully, we won't need to go to Carter in the 9th with a 4-run lead.
Two-one, high fly ball, shallow left center. Coronado going back. Amaral coming in. Halton coming in. Halton decides to take it. That's out number 1. Reyes will come to the plate. Schumann getting that first out here in the 8th inning. Schumann was ailing to some extent. He only got into 3 games on the trip, but he didn't pitch between Friday and Tuesday. Strained a muscle slightly.
Well, the guys that went to the All-Star game, what was their feedback?
They loved it. They said it was just a tremendous time. The Somerset Patriots put on a great show. Breaking ball for a strike. It is 0-1 to Reyes. And they did well.
Yeah.
Halton hit a home run. Schumann was one of only 4 pitchers in the game to throw a perfect inning. Weber had a base hit. He and Frias also turned a double play, and De La Rosa was 2 for 2 and threw a guy out.
And Lancaster very well represented.
Bounder foul, 2 strikes to Reyes. Freedom Division 110-3. Overall, the book on the All-Star game was that it was the Southern Maryland Blue Crab show. Zach Wilson was the MVP of the game. Brian Grenning was the winning pitcher. The Barnstormers certainly represented this club well also. Of course, it's a week from tonight when those two teams clash head-to-head down at Regency Furniture Stadium in Charles County, Maryland, to decide the first half title. 0-2 pitch, just fouled off by Reyes. It's the second time, from what I understand, that this has happened in the Atlantic League. It happened between Bridgeport and Long Island back in 2004, and it led to the Ducks' first ever playoff berth. They won 3 straight against Bridgeport, and then it was rained out, and they had to make it up a few weeks later. 0-2. The pitch tied him up inside, but he was able to fight it off.
So, I mean, dare I even bring it up, but what if it rains that day?
The Atlantic League has some decisions to make because it's going to force that playoff game to be part of a doubleheader, where the other game will be a second-half game. It's going to be a very, very awkward situation that this league hopes to avoid. Yeah, because it's the last time we go to Southern Maryland this year.
And I'm not trying to jinx it, well, because just that point.
Here's the 0-2. Taken in the dirt. Reyes.
Okay, let's say it does rain, and then it so it's only a 7-inning game to determine the first half champion.
Unless they decide to move one of the second half games back to another off day.
Oh.
So you've got really think your way through that one should there be rain next Friday night. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's an 85-degree cloudy day. And I have a reason for that. 1-2. Schumann to the plate, hard hit ground ball behind Kevin Baez.
Okay,
the reason I asked for a
being?
cloudy day is as tough as the sun can be here on the hitters, it's worse there. It tends there's a lot of glare there, and hitters will talk about very often you'll see scoreless games 3 or 4 innings on sunny nights down in Waldorf, and I don't want to see that in a ball game that's going to decide the first half. But it very well could happen. Elmer Reyes fighting Scott Schumann 1-2, and the pitch nailed foul to the right side. Long Island certainly is making the Barnstormers relievers work for all of this. 27 pitches for Moskos last inning, 11 already for Schumann here in the 8th, having gotten 1 out. And Reyes is the K-man too, and he just does not want a round of slushies. He's fighting it off. 1-2. Schumann to the plate, and it's lined to shallow left, sinking in a hurry, and that'll be a base hit. Reyes is aboard, and Jordan Pacheco coming in. Pacheco's had a marvelous night. 2 singles and a home run, and everything to the opposite field. Halton had no chance to get to that sinking line drive.
Pacheco's got half their hits. And Lancaster's pitching has really done a fine job of keeping everybody off the bases, minus Pacheco.
That was just a magnificent at bat by Reyes.
Yeah.
He was almost beaten 2 or 3 times, just fought pitches off, then started to square up some foul balls and finally comes through with the base hit. Pacheco standing in. Schumann wondering if he has the double play pitch in his arsenal. He'll go to work, and strike 1 is delivered to Pacheco, and I think that would have been it if Pacheco had gone for it.
And why is it when there is that slushy batter, we always have that youngster that's within earshot, makes the ears bleed with them screaming for a strikeout? Oh.
Pacheco bats 0-1 here. Schumann to the plate. Bouncing ball, third base. Weber goes to Noel for 1, and Noel has all he can do to save that throw. Pacheco safe on the fielder's choice. 5-4 on Reyes, and Alfonso will step in. Fonzio for 3. The nephew of Met and Giant Edgardo Alfonso. One of your heroes from several years ago. Then Edgardo went to Long Island for 1 point.
Yep. When Noel having to really stretch and keep that toe on the bag.
Yeah, Pacheco isn't really a fast guy. That's, I think, a missed opportunity to get Schumann out of the inning. We'll try to take care of Alfonso instead. The pitch, line drive, caught by Clevenger. Cat-like reactions will end the inning and have a tougher night than Alfonso. He's going to see Steve Clevenger in his nightmares. That's 2 line drives whistled right at the Barnstormer first baseman, both ending innings. 1 hit, 1 left, bottom of the 8th coming around. the street legal grocery cart. Giving that a lot of airtime today. That is something really cool. I hadn't seen it. I was in the clubhouse and all the players were like, what's with the shopping cart with the motor? And I was expecting a normal size, normal size shopping cart with maybe a fan motor. No, it's got like this big Chevy engine, and I finally saw it. I was like, whoa, baby. Yuri De La Rosa on the hill, the third straight left-hander for the Long Island Ducks tonight. The third straight left-hander with a major league background. De La Rosa, 27 years of age, out of Santiago in the Dominican Republic. And as you can see, a little guy among pitchers. He's only 5'9" and 165 pounds. So you know, if you're that size and you make it, you've got to have some really good stuff because you don't have that downward angle that the 6'4", 6'5" guys have. Halton, Garner, and Weber will face him here in the 8th inning. Mr. Freddie DeJesus, the home plate umpire tonight, the jovial fellow. Halton steps in. He's 0 for 3, robbed once by Reyes. Line foul into the Long Island dugout. Halton's down a strike.
Well, based on the fact of his stature, it'll be interesting to see what De La Rosa throws, and if that's any indication, I guess off-speed stuff is his pitch of choice.
Halton lines it out to left field. He's got his first base hit of the night. 9 hits total for the Lancaster Barnstormers. Cole Garner stepping in. Garner with a home run and an infield single. 2 out of 3. Just like Halton in the top of the inning, Krause had no opportunity to catch up to a sinking line drive. There's simply too much ground to cover out in left field, and you're not exactly going to play Sean Halton shallow.
Now, and that double by De La Rosa was hit on a line that, Krause really had no time to react.
It's not easy playing left field in this ballpark. Pitch inside to Garner. 1-0. You've got so much ground to cover. The philosophy typically has been, if you can pull it off, to actually have a very fast guy in left field here at Clipper Magazine Stadium, because you have so much real estate you've got to cover. 1-0 pitch. That is cut on and missed.
Yeah, left and center field. I mean, that's a lot of ground to cover.
Cleary being in center is certainly going to help you out. He can really motor out there and get to a lot of baseballs. Pickoff throw to first. Halton is back in. Sean has 3 stolen bases on the year. By the way, it is worth mentioning tonight that it's really good that the Barnstormers are not wearing their red jerseys tonight, because when they're in their red and the Ducks are in the orange, it is painful to the eyes. Foul ball back 1 and 2, and it's happened numerous times over the years. For a couple of years, they did not allow the road team to wear anything but gray. And while I'm not a fan of that, because sometimes on these hot days, these off-colored jerseys, they have a mesh to them, they breathe better, and they can be a lighter weight material, and that's why the guys really like them. But that red and that orange on the same field, ground ball pulled foul by Garner. 1 and 2. It defies athletics. It just takes an artist's color wheel and deep sixes it.
I guess I'm kind of old school. I just like the fact that the home team wears white and the road team wears either dark or gray.
One, 2, and it's too close. Weber on deck. Foul after that. In case you're wondering, is Kevin Baez out of left-handers? No.
But do you want to exhaust them all in one game?
2-2. High fly ball out to left and deep. Krause with his back to the plate. He will turn and he will be able to square up and make the catch. Tagging is Halton. He's on his way to second. He'll slide in and beat the throw.
Boy, what a heads-up play by Halton. When he knew that Krause was going to have time to get under it and make the catch, He got back to that base and lock and load on to second.
You'll see that from time to time here because left field is so deep. It's good base running. Krause there to make the catch, but it was tough for him to get behind it and get everything on the throw. Still, he had a play on the relay. Halton beating that toss to second base.
Boy, Garner did not miss that by much. Oh, man.
It's a home run in virtually any other ballpark you'll see. Certainly every other Atlantic League facility.
You could see the reaction from the first base camera when he got to the base. He thought he had it.
Garrett Weber trying to drive in the insurance run. The Barnstormers with a couple of chances here. But it's good to see Cole Garner swinging the bat like this.
Yeah.
Now, he seems to be pretty much back in form as the Cole Garner of 2014.
And he could very well be a huge part of this team's success in the second half of the season.
I think Amaral and Clevenger will be too. This has some interesting possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
Ground ball towards shortstop. Lions will get the out at first base as Halton advances. It's up to Bell to knock in the run.
That's why I hate to look ahead to next Friday night already, but boy, how that what a win will do for this squad after all the turnover and the changes and the depleted roster and the injuries.
Well, I have been saying this now for a couple of weeks. If the Barnstormers win that game or get to the playoffs through the second half, one or the other,
right,
Ross Peoples has to really get consideration to be manager of the year. With everything this team has gone through, and the fact that his lineup was stripped down the stretch in a pennant race, wow, it's been impressive. And these guys have responded so well. Ball 2 now on Bell with De La Rosa on deck.
Yeah, quite a test for your first year as a manager.
Right now, Brett Jody, he's had to go through a lot. Somerset has had numerous players picked up. 3-0 to Josh. John Harris has done a great job in Southern Maryland. Luis Rodriguez, fabulous turning Bridgeport around the last couple of years. So any one of the four could merit consideration. Bell goes after the 3-0, chops it to third. Alfonso makes a nice play coming in and cuts him down. 5-3, ending the 8th inning. 1 hit, 1 left. 9th inning of baseball coming up. The Barnstormers lead by 4. Ed Roseborough on camera. Ed has worked for us. You see him behind the camera everywhere around town. Ed's the man. Anthony Carter comes out for the 9th inning. It is a non-save situation. Following up, Moskos and Schumann. 4-run Barnstormers lead. Lolo Chariot, they're already set up on the localflavor.com deck for a post-game concert.
Well, I guess people might be wondering, well, why is Carter in if it's a non-save situation? Well, they've been off. Maybe he just wants to get him some work. Maybe he just wants to make sure they nail down and get this first win of the series.
Carter pitched both Tuesday and Wednesday. Tuesday in a blowout game, but he hadn't worked the previous 3. He gave up a double but struck out the other 3 guys he faced. Then a 1-2-3 inning to nail down the 3-1 win on Wednesday. He's facing Dan Lyons leading off. Lyons 0 for 2 with a walk. Carter will bring it home, and that is strike number 1.
Well, and I was going to say 2 things. Start him with strikes, get that first guy out. Because you've mentioned it, too, in previous telecasts. When you're a closer and you're coming in a non-closed situation, are you as sharp knowing, okay, I have got to be on my game? We've seen it in the major leagues.
It's 0-2. 2 pretty good pitchers so far from the 6'4" Atlanta area right-hander. Fly ball left field, should be little trouble for Sean Halton. He's got it. That's 1. Lions retired. Quentin Berry will come to the plate. Halton having the opportunity recently to move back to the outfield after a significant amount of time at third and then at first base.
Yeah, we've seen him in left and right. Has he ever played center?
Not here. Ball is low to Berry, 1-0. 0 for 4 for the left-handed batting right fielder of the Ducks here tonight. Boy, has this guy been around. Foul tip. It's 1-1. Carter needs 2 more outs to get the Barnstormers to their 8th win in 12 meetings against Long Island this year. Berry, the leadoff hitter in the batting order, just trying to get something started here in the 9th inning. 1-1 pitch. Knocked down at the mound by Carter. He'll fire to first. That's out number 2. That is the 3rd sensational stop Carter has made in his last handful of outings. Did a great job starting a double play here in a recent home game. And then the other day, a tremendous stop of a shot by Albert Cordero for the final out against Sugar Land on Wednesday. And that's just great reflexes. He may not have held this one cleanly, but he still got enough of it to turn it into the second out of the inning.
But these pitchers have been tested here tonight, both teams.
Delta Cleary Jr., the final hope for the Long Island Ducks tonight. 1 out of 2. He's been a base runner his last 3 times up. A single, a walk, and he's been hit by a pitch. Carter deals. That's a strike. 0-1.
Well, just again, just an outstanding performance tonight for Leverett. The bullpen's done its job, and Long Island is, wait for it, 10 ducks on the pond.
Popped up foul out of play. 0-2. I applaud you, sir.
Let's leave it at that.
No balls and 2 strikes on Delta Cleary Jr. Anthony Carter, I think they put blinders on him when Noel hit the home run. In his mind, maybe it's 4-1.
And you know what? If he can get Cleary, make it a nice, clean 1-2-3 inning.
That's exactly what you need here. 0-2. Carter to the plate inside.
You know, minimal pitches. Okay, he got a little bit of work, but you're not going to spend him so much that he can't come back either tomorrow or Sunday.
The Barnstormers will hit the road again. heading to New Britain on Monday. Strike three on the outside corner. Carter cleans off the plate in the ninth inning, nothing across on a 10-pitch 1-2-3 inning. Barnstormers take the opener tonight. A very sound outing all the way around for this Lancaster Barnstormers ball club. We'll do it again tomorrow night here. The ball game will be on the Barnstormers YouTube channel, Go Barnstormers Baseball. And then Sunday, more action like this out of Cole Garner and the rest of the Lancaster Barnstormers. We'll be back on Blue Ridge Cable 11 at 2 o'clock to wrap up this 3-game series against the Long Island Ducks. Now for Eric May, I'm Dave Collins. Have a great evening, everyone, and we'll see you at the ballpark.